Oh my God, that's
Ooh, it's Sunday afternoon, and that calls for a lot more coffee. This is COFOH Live Undead. I am your host, Daniel Crosier, and I am joined by Kristina and Rafael Maldonado-Bad. Wow! You write something on my face. Hello, Kristina and Rafael. How are you guys?
love the intro.
Yeah. I don't know if I can match that energy. I haven't had my coffee yet.
Yeah, it's only 5 of these. Come on.
I got my tea. I'm good.
Guys, it's great to have you guys on, and you're pulling together an amazing event, ayACon. Can you tell us a little bit about yourselves and how this came to be?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Me going first. I don't know where to start on that one. I just started drawing, then took a big hiatus, and then got back into it. Met Kristina. We started our ayACon studios back before COVID happened, and then that kind of killed us, as it did a lot of businesses. Yeah. And then now we're just starting over again with ayACon. It's something we've been planning since about 2019 is when we started talking about it. And then it was going to be 2020, but that wasn't a good year.
We all know how 2020 went.
Yeah, it seemed like it ended the same way for everybody.
Yeah,
for real. And then I basically local Denver artist, graphic designer, was a Denver American Indian Commissioner for a while, and then a co-chair of the Denver American Indian Commission, and worked at Pop Culture Classroom, and now I work at the Art Museum. I've been everywhere, all over the place. But actually, how the idea of this really started was we back in New Mexico went to the Indigenous Comic-Con started by Lee Francis, and it became an idea to bring it up here to Denver. Brought it up to the commission to present. I had Lee talk to them, and we were like, oh, maybe we'll do an Indigenous Comic-Con here. Somehow I got voluntold into being the director of that Comic-Con. And so 2019 was Indigenous Pop X, went really great show. One of the things that we kind of realized was that we wanted to provide a show that was more the idea of indigeneity. So everybody being Indigenous and connecting to your own cultural roots. Right. Which was a little different than the vision that Native Realities and Lee Francis had, which was specific only to Native Americans. Yeah. And so we branched off. So an Indigipop X is actually still happening in Oklahoma. So that group has continued on doing their Indigenous Comic-Cons, and we created ayACon in collaboration with the Denver Art Museum so that we could have a little bit more of that deep dive into indigeneity and into that connection to the land that every human shares.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and ayA is it's the Lakota word to change or to become.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. Nice. Yeah, I had no clue.
A lot of
which Rafael knows. I generally don't have a clue.
Well, and it was kind of cool because the other day he was looking it up and he found out that ayA is also a fern.
Oh, okay.
So in Africa, right? So
yeah, the only difference is it doesn't have the accent over the lowercase a at the beginning.
Okay.
So it's capital AYA.
And I've actually gotten some I've gotten some funny feedback from the accents because I was trying to help people pronounce it. And so phonetically, that's the way it was pronounced on the Lakota Language Consortium.
Okay.
So I used that spelling of it in order to help people pronounce it. And I've had quite a few like Lakota language speakers be like, why is it written out that way? And I'm like, because it's to be more equitable. I'm sorry. I'm not going to change it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate the education too, because I wouldn't have known otherwise. And that's something that I always really value about talking to you guys about is, kind of, learning about, different cultures and different approaches to ways of life, but also, the pop culture aspect too, because, indigenous, cultures are so laden, and, part of the foundation of what we know today as pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, can you give it an example, like, of like what we can expect, when we go to ayA this year?
Yeah, we've got a really exciting lineup. We announced 3 of our guests, which I'm super psyched for. One of them being Marlena Miles. So she is a self-taught artist. She's amazing. Never took any of those classes. She is a virtual reality and animator, graphic designer. All of that stuff she taught herself, with YouTube. So
oh, no kidding.
Yeah, she's amazing. All of her graphic designs are great. She's projected giant animations onto huge city buildings in Minneapolis. She did a virtual reality art walk that is also kind of a educational tool to Dakota lands. So you walk through the park and it projects all of this stuff through your cell phone, and she just blows us away. So that's she's one of our first guests. And then our second guest, Jorge Garza, is he created a thing that's Aztec pop. So it's kind of like an Aztec codices style that is merged with pop culture things. So he's got name more one that you want to snag.
Yeah, I want to snag that one bad. So
and then he has a prince and all of these different pop culture icons that are done in this Aztec codice style artwork. And then he's also a comic artist, so he's created a couple books. And then our other one, Rashad Santiago, is the season 6 winner of Face Off.
Yes. I love that guy. He's so talented and so cool.
Yeah, actually, I met him at Denver Comic Con. I want to say this the second year that I was working with Lee Francis with the Indigenous Narratives Collective. We were situated right next to him.
Oh, cool.
And so we ended up talking about special makeup effects because he saw my beast from Cowie. And he was like, oh, I want to make that at some point. We still haven't gotten around to that one, but we will eventually. And that turned into a conversation. So he was my friend on Facebook. And so with us doing ayA, I was like, I need to bring you out, especially because he made a full feral predator outfit from Prey.
Yes.
And so, I told him he had to bring that one, had to confirm that through the art museum of hey, if you see a feral predator walking around, that's with us. Just a heads up.
That's awesome. It's definitely, a tie and jacket event if he's got to put on his, predator outfit.
Right. Yeah. I was like, you need to bring the Prey predator because it's so good. And he has a couple of videos of him walking through Spirit Halloween.
Yeah.
And just walking around and people stopping and being like, oh my God. It's
what's that about? And
he has both heads. So he has the one with the mask, and then he made the whole face without the mask as well.
Oh man, that's awesome. Jeez.
We do have a couple other guests that we're really excited to announce that we're still locking down contracts and details of, but
nice. But you'll be rolling those out here in the upcoming weeks, I'd imagine.
Yep.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Cool. But as far as exhibitors too, what can we expect from that? A lot of different talents, comic book creators, or just a whole bunch of other things that we would normally see at a comic book convention.
Yeah, you'll get that plus more. So you're gonna get your standard comic artists, fan artists, doing kind of their takes on some characters and whatnot. But the majority of what you're going to get out of those types of artists is the independent creators who've created their own stuff. Primarily what we were aiming for is people who kind of integrated their culture into it, regardless of where they were from. So whether it was from Europe, here, Africa, wherever it was, it's kind of something we wanted to promote. So you get like a real good immersion of new stuff that you haven't really been able to really dig into. And then on top of that, we're going to have some fashion artists and stuff like that. And then, of course, like the food booths that we had before. So,
and we actually do have a couple of like tattoo and body paint artists, especially after we announced the show. So yeah, it's going to be a very diverse show. There's definitely a lot of Native American artists, but one of the things that I had mentioned before, like with Indigenous Pop X, was a lot of times people think like Native American is like one little box. But this is like varying tribes, all of them having different art styles coming from different places. Some of it being more traditional comic style, some of it being like more of a cutout style that's like more fine art. And then, it's really all over the place. We'll have lots of like independent books, like he said, lots of paintings and like little things that people are doing, a lot of beadwork artists.
Cool.
One of our novice artists, actually, and we brought the novice artist program back again. And for people who don't know what that is, at IPX, I started a novice artist program to help aspiring creators have a table experience without really like being out their pocket. Because obviously being an exhibiting artist myself, I made the mistake the first time I exhibited of making way too many prints that I still kind of have. I still have some of those because I went like full blown, like, I'm going to sell this much. And he was like, no, you're not going to sell out of 200 prints in one weekend. That's the dream, but that might not actually happen.
Right. I know that feeling, I still have a lot of originals. Right now they make better kindling.
Right. Yeah.
I ended up giving mine away to kids that passed by a couple years ago.
I still give mine away at like every time I do a teaching thing. So but the purpose of that
the purpose
of the novice artist program was really to like help people actually benefit from being an exhibiting artist, so that they can actually have a handle on things. So they get a free table. They get some professional development around printing and resources of where to print and what your costs look like. And then kind of the tax info of like what your actual like profit would look like. You have to factor in, in a setting where you're not provided a table and you don't live in the city, you have to factor in your travel and your like hotel and your food, and at what point is that actually like a profit? And is this something you could actually do as a side hustle that's a successful side hustle, or are you just kind of sinking money into a pit? So it's really to help people create their businesses from that. And we don't have an age cap on it. The only thing is that it has to be someone who's never exhibited before. So this is like their first time ever testing the waters. And one of those artists, Sophie Hill, she's a beadwork artist that just started beading during the pandemic.
Cool.
And she's
insane.
Incredible.
Oh my God.
I just had her in a show that I organized at the Denver Art Museum called Indomitably Indigenous. And she did a beaded Nosferatu medallion portrait. And it's incredible. And she's talking on the news. We did like a little like segment of those artists, and she was talking about, I just started beading in 2019, and I'm just like, wait, what? Like I just like double took for a second. I was like, you have like a full beaded like portrait, like that's like in 3 years. That's just crazy. So
that's awesome. Wow.
She's one of our novice artists. Actually, I have a couple of the artists from that show at the art museum that are coming back to be novice artists. And it is all ages. So it's kind of funny right now. It seems like most of the novice artists are in their mid-20s to like way later in adult, which is very different from how we had it in 2019. It was mostly like youth. So mostly around the ages of like 15 up to about like 27. And that's where it really stopped. So it's kind of moved back a little bit. So we have like late teens to basically like 51, I think is our oldest novice artist.
Okay. Wow. This sounds like a fantastic opportunity for any, creative, person, at least, stepping out. Yeah. At any age group. Yeah. Have you noticed that, like during the pandemic, just so many people took to new hobbies or new, creating, new art, just, trying something different?
Yeah, I think so. That's probably also why we have such like a different age range this time, is because people really were like, what does the side hustle look like? Like I started an earring business just for fun, and now how do I exhibit that? Like, yeah.
I tend to see it as like something like that people got a chance to get right back into, that maybe as an adult it was like, oh, I got to pay my bills, and they kind of put it to the side. And then COVID happened. It was like, oh, let me dig back into that, and they found their love again. And I think that's really cool.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. We've got a couple comments coming in. Ella Strange, I love art and artists. A great idea in your approach and design of these events. And actually, he just followed up too. Whoa, bead perfection involving horror. So
you gotta see it. It's when you see it in person, it just doesn't do it justice.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at her, if you look her up on Instagram, you can see a lot of the beadwork stuff that she's done. It's very like, she's got her Nosferatu horror medallion. I think she has like a swamp thing on there, and she's also got a couple like Halloween looking things, like or the creature from the Black Lagoon. Like she's got quite a few.
She's actually got t-shirts of that one.
Wow.
So I don't know if she'll be selling t-shirts, but if she does, you guys are going to want to snag those up.
I definitely want one. I know my partner Brett Smith's going to want one. So Brett, if you're listening out there, just forward me the money. I'll just get it for you anyway.
There you
go. But so I mean, I'm super excited from not only like the talent and stuff from our guests, but also like just all of the vendors. And we actually have the capacity to highlight over 180 artists.
Cool.
And so, that wide range of skill sets. And like, we have a lot of anime creators that did their own anime styles. We have like the comic books. We've got a lot of fashion. And then, the after hours events will be a lot of fun. So on Friday is actually not a full con day. It is 4 to 7 kind of like screening day that you can only get with a weekend pass. So for those of you out there wanting to buy tickets, if you buy a 3-day weekend pass, that's the only way you can access Friday.
So the nice thing is it's no different than buying a Saturday and a Sunday pass.
Yeah, basically.
So
our prices are very affordable. It's $15 a day or $30 for the entire weekend.
Wow, that is awesome. That's such a great price break. What a great thing, for like a family to do, to come out to, especially you got a family, you're on a budget.
Which also, speaking of family, kids 18 and under are free.
18 and under, huh?
Yep. So the pricing system's the same as our collaborative partner, the Denver Art Museum.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So with that, that's kind of why you get a bonus if you get a 3-day weekend, because really the 2 days of our programming happen at the Art Museum on Saturday and Sunday.
Cool.
And so Friday will be at the McNichols building from 4 to 7 is when you can kind of get a sneak peek at vendors. It'll also be the opening of a show that Rafael's helping to coordinate.
Working with a local guy, and he's going to be designing an ofrenda. For those of you who have watched Coco, you're probably pretty familiar with it, but it's kind of, where we show our family and our loved ones. So we're going to be putting up photos and some art of some of the artists and our friends that we lost, especially during COVID and whatnot. So that's going to be an ongoing event. It's going to start before the con. So I think we're talking 2 weeks before the con, and then it'll run through the con. And then people are going to be welcome to bring photos of their loved ones and put them at the ofrenda and just kind of enjoy the memory of everybody,
Yeah, because we definitely, we lost a lot of artists in our community during COVID. And my collaborator actually with Cowie, Vincent Kukua, passed away earlier this year. And that like was a total shock, but he was one of our first exhibitors to sign up when we had announced this. So it's kind of been hard seeing his name every time I pull up the exhibitor list because he was the first one. And so, yeah, we want to honor their artwork and kind of their story. And so during that Friday, we'll have that ofrenda opening where people can come and enjoy it with food and drinks. We'll have some Aztec dancers at that event, and then we end at 7, and it gets pretty crazy because one of our collaborators is doing a res metal festival. So the res metal festival will be at the Levitt Pavilion, so we'll be sending everybody over there.
Oh my god,
to the Levitt Pavilion. And it's like you'll have like 5 different metal bands performing in this great outdoor venue.
Man. Is that a separate ticket item, or is that included?
It's included.
No kidding. Oh my gosh.
Yep. So if you because it's actually free access.
Yeah.
So if you do sign up for like the 3-day pass, then you get to go check out all that fun stuff.
Oh my god. You guys are just pulling out all the stops. Okay. What are the bands that are performing?
I'm not
those
sure.
locked out?
Yeah, we're not organizing that one.
Okay.
It's just actually, so she's one of our collaborating artists, and she's actually the featured Native artist in residence at the Denver Art Museum right now.
Okay.
And so she's going to be working to do this Res Metal Festival, which will be accessible to IACON guests, but she also wants it to be accessible to like the greater Denver. So we're doing like multiple advertising for that. And we'll have a couple of our performers. We have a lot of performers this year. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
We put up the same thing as panels and programming for like all other conventions do. And the majority of our panel proposals are performance proposals. So we have like rap artists, rock artists, like punk, alternative, all these performers that wanted to perform. So that'll be happening at the McNichols building. And then our panels will all be at the art museum. And they'll actually be more like educational spotlights with artists.
Nice.
It's kind of funny, like with a lot of our friends and a lot of our community, like people put in panel proposals, but the panel proposal they put into me was like, I can talk on these subjects. Where do you want me? So I was like, that's great. Awesome.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a lot of really cool artist highlights talking about skill sets and how to develop those skill sets. All of our guests will have highlights and like draw off type of situations. So it'll be kind of a jam-packed info. And then the other after hours event that happens on Sunday after the whole con is our Futurisms Fashion Showcase. So it's kind of like the culminating event.
Nice.
We end at 5 on Sunday. So after everybody loads out at the art museum, we'll have everybody and all of our vendors get tickets when they sign up. They get a free access ticket to that fashion show. That is a separate ticketed event. Because it's in the Sturm Pavilion in the Denver Art Museum.
Okay.
So come dressed to impress.
Yeah, and there's multiple levels of that one, but we're able to highlight 7 different designers with that one. There's going to be a really cool blacklight entrance to that, a drag show that happens in the intermission. And, anybody who isn't really picked, because we can only do 7 designers, which is really hard for me, like really, really hard for me.
Yeah, we've got a huge list that we're still working down.
Having to narrow down to who gets the invite this year, and that's really, really hard. But for anybody who doesn't get that invite to participate directly in the fashion show part of it, we're still encouraging them to wear their fashions, because the other thought of this whole event is really to build connections and to network. That was one of the biggest feedbacks that we got from IPX that we really loved, was that everybody was like, oh, I got to sit down with James Obar and talk to him and build connections with him. And I lost my celebrities during IPX, which sounds horrible, but was actually kind of awesome. They ditched my security and took off and went to all of the vendors and bought from vendors and ate lunch with the vendors and just hung out with the vendors for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So like it was funny because I was like, I don't know where any of my celebrities are, and I'm like looking for them, and they're just like walking around taking selfies with people, like talking to people, just kind of enjoying the weekend,
sending out friend requests on Facebook. It was funny.
Yeah. And you know, the 4 that we had really thanked us for like being able to be a person again. You know, they actually got to enjoy their weekend. They weren't stuck behind a table signing and like not really able to just kind of connect. And
wow, that's so cool. Yeah, you know, at our event, that's kind of been the similar experience. Yeah, the celebrities come out, they're usually hanging out with us at the bar, at other vendors' tables. You know, sometimes we'll do like creative projects and stuff together. It's so I can totally appreciate because so many celebrity guests, it's boring sitting behind your table signing autographs all the time, not really being able to connect on a human level with some of your some of the attendees or the other exhibitors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then when we got James Obar out here, like we took him out to dinner, and he was telling us, you know, some conventions just fly him out there and then they just leave him. Oh. Like he's there for the day and then they just like leave him on his own for dinner.
Yeah, he would tell us that so many times he'd end up like at 7-Eleven buying food to eat because he didn't know where to go. Like it's, you know, you're in a strange town and everything. So we were, you know, taking him out to restaurants downtown and hanging out with a couple of the other guests that we had. We'd make it a big thing. And he was just like, This was awesome, you know? So,
yeah. So,
and then we fed our celebrities on Sunday morning.
Well, we fed all of our exhibitors, and we do want to kind of bring that one back, but we'll have to see. You know, fundraising wise, but during IPX we did an exhibitors breakfast, where we got a chance for all the exhibitors to kind of like meet just outside of the con and eat and just visit, and that was actually really beneficial for us because there was a couple people that we were really worried about. You know, it didn't seem like they were having a good con, so we were really worried about it. And then we like sat down to breakfast with them and they're like, oh, this is like the best con I've ever been to, I'm having a great time. And we were like, oh really? Because your face did not say that.
Not at all.
Looking at them, we seriously thought they were like having an awful time, and they were like, no, this is great, like I'm definitely coming back.
Good poker face, right?
Yeah.
Seriously. So we do want to do some form of like food thing with the leaders again, but we're talking to sponsors and kind of connecting, and we're also nonprofit, as you can tell from our tickets. So the whole purpose of our event is not to make a ton of money. It's basically just to provide that connection and that network. And we want to take care of our vendors, having been vendors ourselves. And
man, that's awesome. How, can I ask how you guys, came about partnering up with, somebody like Denver Art Museum?
So that'd be me.
Well, JC had some input in that.
Yeah, for sure. One of our board members actually for our, for ayA, like the nonprofit, is working for the Denver Art Museum. And he came to IPX when he was working with Redline. And he was like, he moved over to the art museum, was like, you should do this at the art museum. And then I started working at the art museum, and it made it like a lot easier to be like, hey, so this fits with our commitment to Indigenous peoples, and JC's also on board, and here's how we can make this happen. And thankfully we've been doing a lot of building with like community in our creative hub, which is where all of our community booths and our panels are going to be situated. And so, the team at the art museum's been really great about like figuring out how we can do all of our different programming things, how we might do wayfinding to send people back and forth between the two buildings. So it's been pretty cool. The sad thing was when we first had this idea, we were like, we want to do the whole thing in the art museum. And then we realized that creators can't sell in the art museum.
Really?
Yeah, so you could showcase or you can give away for free. But you can't sell. There can't be an exchange of money inside the building.
Wow.
For legalities. So it was kind of a bummer.
one of the red tapes. So it was kind of funny because we met our first meeting and we were like, the whole thing's gonna be at the art museum. It's gonna be awesome. And then they were like, "Oh, you can't sell." And I was like, "Yeah, we can't have a Comic-Con without sell.
Yeah.
Oh,
We can't have
jeez.
like an artist festival where the artists are not allowed to sell."
So
And
is-
there is
yeah.
like a little loophole about that where you can sell outside.
Okay.
Because that's how we do the powwow. Because the Denver Art Museum hosts the friendship powwow, and all the vendors can sell, but they have to be out on that courtyard area.
Nice.
Okay. And yeah, like just for the capacity and the size that we wanted to do, we were like, yeah, no, we'll just go back to having the McNichols building as our partner because they were so great the first time, and everybody there has been so helpful. The security team's great. Like, we're just gonna stick with that and then send people back and forth, and we'll just have some good like wayfinding ways of being able to go between the two buildings. And with the Icon ticket, you get full access to the museum anyways. So aside from the programming that you have in the Creative Hub, you can actually go to all the galleries and check out the museum.
Man, that's awesome. There's an incredible amount of value, not only doing your show, but also participating in the Denver Art Museum. All the exhibits that they have going along with that accessible ticket. Man, that's pretty tremendous. You guys really knocked it out of the park on this.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're hoping everybody enjoys it.
Yes. I know.
Yeah.
As we're like in the March, so now I'm like, oh God, it's like 4 months away.
Yeah. And it's a busy March this March too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's coming up. Well, I think like this month there's the Denver powwow. Are you guys gonna have a presence there?
Yeah.
I actually have a booth. I've never had a booth before.
Cool.
I part of me is kind of wondering what I did. Like, why did I do that? Mostly because so with the Denver March powwow, my dad actually wrote the Denver March powwow song. Ooh, and so it's the song that they sing in for Grand Entry every year. And so my family always sings in Grand Entry. So that's partially why I've never applied for a booth, is because like I was always either dancing or singing with the drum. This year, a lot of my dad's old like drum members and mates are coming up, and then we do have like a lot of community partners that are helping my dad sing. So I was like, yeah, I should be able to do that. And then as we're getting ready for the booth, I'm like, did I just completely repeat Dink? Like, there was one year I got so mad at Charlie because he scheduled Dink the same weekend as Denver March powwow.
Yeah.
And literally I went to the powwow, sang Grand Entry, ran back, did the table, went back to the powwow for the nighttime. And it was like back and forth the whole weekend. And I was like, I looked at Charlie and I was like, if you ever do that to me again, I'm gonna murder you.
Yeah.
I will kill you.
Well, come to find out, that's why he moved to Italy, just so he could avoid, any kind of, death warrant out from you,
Right? Yeah, no, that was a rough year, and it was kind of funny because now I've been doing all my prepping for my table because I also don't table very much anymore as an artist myself. I kind of like the organizing more. He still does the tables, but I've taken a break from it, so I really only do 2 shows a year now, and it's the Denver March powwow this year, and then next year will be, or like summer of this year will be Pathways in Santa Fe.
Okay.
So
wow.
It's like only those 2 because really I'm usually doing a bunch of other things organizing wise. So yeah.
That's cool, but you still have like ayA Studios going, and
we don't actually, unfortunately, because of COVID.
Yeah, COVID kind of killed ayA Studios because it was the events that were kind of holding us afloat because we were brand new. But once that happened and we weren't able to go anywhere, it just kind of killed us on that end. Still doing my book. She's still working on Cowie. We're trying to figure out another way to do that one now, but I'm still tabling. I've got a couple events coming up, mini cons coming up. I got all season. I'm tabling. I'm sharing a table with AC Canales. There's a couple other events. FOCO's coming up, which they had me actually do the poster for this year.
Cool. Nice. That's awesome. Congrats.
And then Wicked West. So looking forward to that one because that was a fun one.
And
Nice.
speaking of like the whole idea of Indigenous, like you should check out his poster for FOCO because he's got like Namor on there, and it's all kind of an Indigenous take to like the building that Namor, sorry.
Namor. Yep.
Namor.
Yes.
Namor.
Sorry, I'm going like back to like comic wise.
The old Jack Kirby comics, Namor.
Well, and I technically shouldn't do that because I didn't really care about him until recently.
Right.
That was the character he liked, and then when we watched the movie, I was like, yeah, I love him. And
yeah.
I'm a poser in that sense. I'm better with other comics where I'm like, I was a fan of the comic before the movie. That's not the case with Namor.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. I think that was also the case with a lot of people with Aquaman. You know, people weren't fans until it was Jason Momoa.
Right.
Yeah, and it's still kind of hard to get Aquaman fans to admit it.
True. I mean, I'm kind of that way too. It's like, yeah, I think I did read a bunch of books, before Momoa, but it's just like, yeah, okay, I can handle Bro Momoa. Yeah, that's cool.
Right.
He made it cool because otherwise he was just this kind of jokey character in the DC comics.
And his bright orange shirt and green pants.
Yep. Yeah. It turns out it actually works pretty well on film. Yeah. That and Namor with his tight green spandex. I was like, wow, that actually works pretty good. I still can't pull it off at home. So
yeah, he calls them the shame shorts. I watched it. They asked him why, and he stood up and mimicked pulling shorts down and crossing his legs. He was like, that's
yeah. Well, yeah, I did hear that they had to digitally remove his bulge in there.
Yeah, apparently, I don't know if that's a full-fledged rumor or if there's actual fact in that yet, but I found that kind of funny.
Yeah, that's pretty hilarious. Yeah. Hey, man. Yeah, if you got it, flaunt it. No, I love that movie. So that's pretty cool. That's really good that you guys are still doing your art, and you're so on top of it. Hopefully we'll be able to see more of your books coming out. Sounds like you're still working on them. I'm just trying to figure out the a way forward on those to get them out.
Yeah. I mean, most of it is really like the funding because the way we had our model for like ayA Studios was like anything that we made from selling during conventions, we'd put towards publishing. And that's how we were getting our books done. And then,
that
we had no income coming in from, selling at conventions. So that it was like, okay, we don't have the money to publish now because we don't have the funds for that. So really, and both of us have been looking at grant applications and kind of figuring out how to get some of those books out. He's got a couple really cool books in mind that we're just kind of looking like the artist residency or like grant route, because I think things changed so much after COVID. Like, it's kind of a whole new world.
I'll actually be launching a Kickstarter with a bunch of friends of mine.
Cool. I was just going to bring that up. Crowdfunding. Nice.
Yeah, we started a whole new group. It's called Resilient Press. So it's a bunch of native guys that kind of got together, and we're doing a big collaboration team up book for the first book to kind of give everybody an introduction to who our characters are. So they kind of come together, form a temporary team, and then we're going to be pushing everybody's book kind of through that.
Okay.
So we'll have a lot of those guys actually at ayACon.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have a nice little teaser for that book coming out, and then we'll be launching a Kickstarter. And then I've got a couple ideas in the pipeline on my end, solo end anyway.
Right. Yeah. One thing when it comes to like something like ayACon and that presentation of Indigenous, and I love your approach to be incredibly inclusionary with so many people that would just associate that with like actual Indigenous people and native people as well. But also like how do I say this? People of like European descent and African descent, and you name it, Asian. But for me, as a white person, I'm always curious about other cultures. In pop culture, can you tell us, some stuff that you guys, think that we should, be plugging into and really absorbing. Like one of the things, I've really gotten into is like, Reservation Dogs on Hulu, Dark Winds. I think that's on AMC. What would what would you guys recommend?
Yeah, I mean, both of those are great.
Prey,
they're
if
awesome.
Nobody's seen it yet. I think that's still on Hulu.
If you have not seen Prey, you need to watch Prey, just because amazing movie. But then on top of that, there is a Comanche version that is the whole thing is in Comanche, and you actually can kind of understand some of the story a little bit better when you actually watch the Comanche version, because of the subtitles. They go a little bit more into things with the subtitles, but yeah, like Prey is great. That's also part of the great thing about our con being open to everybody is really like sharing that perspective. So finding out other like independent creators' books that follow all of those things, and like there's like animations and things like if you have little ones, Spirit Riders on Netflix is really good. So is Molly of Denali. Both of those are Indigenous made, and they're both like Spirit Warriors is kind of like if you know Super Monsters, it's like these little kids that turn into monsters at night. It's kind of like the native version of that.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then Molly of Denali is just like a cute like day in the life of an Indigenous girl. Honestly, I love Black Panther. Like what Ryan Coogler did with Black Panther is just incredible. Just not only the first one, but also the second one. It really like opened up a lot of discussion into just that culture, and also just the whole colonizer type of situation and how colonizers actually put brown and black against each other. There's quite a bit. Like it is always good to like look up the other resources besides us as well, like the Indigipop X. They're going to have a bunch of different artists and stuff at their convention.
Actually, Lee's store. Lee Francis has a store called
Red Planet. Yeah. Red Planet Comics is a really good place to go because it has multiple different book sources that are comic books to children's books to novels.
Cool.
And so, those are all really good resources to go to.
Also, John Proudstar, he's actually on Reservation Dogs.
He plays Jack's dad.
Yeah.
No, not Willie Jack's dad. Her uncle, I think. Right?
Yeah, he's her uncle.
Yeah.
He's the one that takes her out hunting in the flashbacks.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he did a book in the 90s called Tribal Force. And he is bringing it back. They actually have a Kickstarter, I think, that's going live if it's not already live.
Cool.
So he got some new artists to kind of help him out with that. And that'll be coming out soon, too.
Yeah. And hopefully he'll be at ayA. He keeps saying he wants to come. But then a lot of it has been tracking people down and being like, okay, just if you tell me you want to come, you got to also fill out the application.
Yeah.
Because I can't guarantee you a spot because we have a lot. So it's been a lot of that, especially with our friends and, people that were at IPX. They just kind of assume that they're grandfathered in. And I'm like, no, you have to fill out an application.
Right. Well, you guys got my application, right?
Yes. Yeah. You
Good.
You got your acceptance and you paid, right? I'm pretty sure you paid.
I paid. I don't know that I've gotten an email confirmation. So that was through PayPal.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I did. I saw that, and yes, you're good. Yes.
Excellent. Yay.
Sorry, I'm like going back. Which number?
I know you. Sorry to put you guys on the spot. I know there's a lot to mull over.
No worries. It's all good. But yeah, all of those resources are great. I think with anything, I really just tell people to like do their research.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just kind of the world in general. We live in the time of TikTok videos where people often take things at face value of like, oh, hey, if you put the toothpaste inside of the Mountain Dew, it turns multiple colors. No, you got to kind of research that. Don't just believe it. So it's kind of the same, I feel, with cultures and representation is like,
And I think that goes across the board too, not
Yeah.
just Native Americans.
No, everybody.
So, yeah.
Honestly, like, you know, you can't really take anything at face value. Like, you really do have to be like, oh, that's cool, and then kind of look more into it. Moonshot is another really great comic to check out. It is a bunch of different Indigenous artists together that kind of did like a futuristic version of like traditional stories.
Oh, nice.
And
that's
so,
pretty
yeah.
sweet.
Yeah,
Does that
that
one still
one
have Echo's origin in it?
I think it does actually.
Yeah, David
Yeah.
Mack did the origin for Echo in that one.
Yeah.
From Daredevil.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And yeah, Echo's
cool.
coming out.
That's right.
So that would be super exciting. I'm so excited for that. Echo's one of my favorite superheroes ever. I cosplayed her, so like,
I remember that. Yeah, I remember you doing that. Yeah, that was pretty cool to see in the Hawkeye series, and then you know, then they're going to. Well, I think they've already wrapped up that production, and hopefully they'll put it out, you know, later this year maybe.
It was supposed to be June, but I think they're actually moving it back.
Right. I think I heard that as well. So hopefully it's the end of the year at the latest. But I think you know, something like that will also play into like Daredevil, and then we'll see more Echo in that series too.
Yeah, I would love to actually see Echo in Daredevil. It's kind of funny. We watched the like Ben Affleck version, or like I think the Ben Affleck version of Daredevil.
And I
kind of forgot about it, and then I was like, oh, I forgot that they gave Elektra Echo's story.
Oh, was that the case?
Totally.
Oh, shoot, I didn't pick up on that.
That is totally Echo's story.
Other than her being Elektra and getting killed by Bullseye.
Yeah.
It's basically
Echo. Like the whole thing with her father and the like, attacking Daredevil because she believes Daredevil is responsible for the death of her father, and like Fisk is the one who told her that. That's all Echo.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
I was like, I forgot about that.
Jeez. Nice. Yeah. Well, and then with Hawkeye, you know, they instead of Daredevil, they put it on Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Yeah. They kind of moved it over.
Yeah.
That's the other thing
but the MCU is always different.
Yeah.
Like it's the same, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we could geek out further because, you know, like in the last Doctor Strange one, they really affirmed that it's the 616, which is the print comic book version, and it's like, well, it's kind of different in the you know, in the film and TV version. You got loose adaptations at best.
Yeah. It's kind of like their way of merging everything together to kind of make it. And it works really well. Like, I think their storytelling is on point, but it is definitely different than the comics.
Yeah. I just thought that would be a great point, area to like deviate from the 616 and just make it your own, you know. Ooh, make it the 666. Ooh.
Right.
There you go.
666.
Yeah, I know. That's just appropriate for this platform and really not really for the actual MCU films.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, actually, speaking of horror, if you look up A Tribe Called Geek, they have a really great list of native-made horror films that are actually like horrifying.
Yeah.
This last week I got back into the Trickster series that was on CW. I think it was on CW. And it was being promoted on Amazon Prime. I think there's just one series though, or one season.
Yeah, unfortunately they got canceled.
That's too bad. But yeah, like Indigenous horror. Holy crap, man! If you like horror movies, there was one. I can't remember what it was called, but it was on Shudder. It was about these young girls that run across like Lovecraftian type creatures taking over all these animals, and then the locals too.
Yeah, I forgot the name of it, but yeah, that one. And then there's like Blood Quantum is like a zombie movie.
Yeah.
There's a whole list, honestly. Like Johnny J runs a Tribe Called Geek, and they're like a podcast and things that they'll put out really good resources of things to look at too. And she's a horror buff, so a lot of that has some really great horror recommendations.
Oh, that's so cool. Kristina, Rafael, it's thanks for being so generous with your time. And coming on and talking to us about ayACon and all. You guys are doing some amazing things. I can't wait to see, you know, all that you have rolling out. I mean, it sounds absolutely tremendous. Is there anything that we left out that you want to share?
Tickets. So I see that you have the ticket banner going by. They are this close. We are working with a different ticket company because during all my research, their fees are ridiculous. So I found a really cool company where the fees are minimal as can be. So, because we want to keep it as affordable as we can. So hopefully we're looking at next week or the following week, and tickets will go on sale for sure. And then you can definitely buy the Saturday pass if you only want Saturday, or the Sunday pass if you only want that. You do still have to buy the kids' tickets. You just don't get charged for them.
Okay.
You need to make sure you get that QR code so we can scan you. And they'll be free regardless of 18 and under.
Nice.
The only thing is, I think day of the tickets may go up a little bit. So early bird special, definitely buy them online, because then at most you're looking at, you know, $30 per VIP ticket, which gets you into the Friday show. And then just, you know, a few dollars on top of that for processing and whatnot. And then the fashion show, we're still working on the tickets for that one, because they're going to have to be limited. And then we're also giving, as we said earlier, the vendors all get 2 passes for the fashion show for free. So all the vendors can get in nice and, you know, but those will go on sale shortly after ayACon's tickets do.
So we'll have all the tickets for sale by Denver March Powwow for sure.
Okay.
I would advise everybody to buy their tickets online, because even if they do come to the door for ayACon, we're still going to send you to an online link.
Okay.
So we're not going to have like a ticket box per se, because of the way that it's between the 2 buildings. So either way, you're going to have to do online. So sending everybody to the online ahead of time, so we get that all situated. And then we're pretty community based. So any of our other like cons and festivals out there, if they have any questions about like what ticket place we're using or any of our resources on how we've kind of streamlined this, then we're more than welcome to share, and you're more than welcome to reach out to us and ask questions. And we're all about that. We've had a lot of help from NDK's team as well. Like Guy Davis has kind of given us some good pointers, and NDK is going to have a table. Oh, which actually reminds me, we have a community booth application online right now for any of the nonprofits and like festivals. If you guys want a free table in the Denver Art Museum to just share information about what you're doing, those applications are up, and they close the same time as our vendors and our proposal applications on March 31st. So that'll get you tickets to the festival, and then also that table to be able to share your stuff. You can do QR codes. Again, you just can't sell anything inside of the Denver Art Museum building, but you can do QR codes and send people to your website and things like that. You can do art making activities with kids if you wanted to engage more children. If you're like a nonprofit that does specifically educational based or things like that, we have lots of space for that. So.
Oh, wow. That sounds absolutely amazing. Very cool. Well, Kristina and Rafael, thanks so much for coming on. Oh, we got a couple extra comments here. Nick,
nice.
You guys are awesome.
They're also going to be at ayACon. That's Lakota Body Care. They're amazing. Ooh. They do soap, and actually a little girl started the whole business, and she's incredible. Created her own soap business with her dad. That was her dad.
Yeah, that family itself is really cool.
Nice.
His wife actually does fashion stuff. So
Corn Maiden Designs. Yeah. So and you can bet they'll be around. So
nice. No, this was fun. Thank you from Ella Strange. Nice.
Thank you.
Well, cool, guys. So, for everybody that tuned in, make sure after this broadcast, you go and get your tickets at ayacondenver.art. Remember, it's .art, not .com.
Yep, .art. Think Art Festival. .art.
Yes. Yes. That's so cool. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Again, thanks so much, guys, for coming on. Stick around for a few minutes while we sign off. But to everybody that tuned in, thanks so much for tuning in on a Sunday. And of course, to all our sponsors for all your support. To Mutiny Information Cafe, if you're going to start a revolution, make sure you're caffeinated. And of course, our friends at Hellfire Entertainment, thanks for rebroadcasting us on your social media. And Groovy TV, and of course to Bill at Alien Donut Films and Angela at Angela Joseph Productions, and of course our producers Lily Fisher and Amanda Armstrong and Stefan Santa Cruz. Thanks so much for putting up with my shit, and of course to all of you that tuned in. Thanks so much. Take care of each other. Look out for each other during tough times, and stay spooky. We'll see you next time.